Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. This is Taiwan Ojobi, once again, your host on Lanuna's Maple Sports. We like unfiltered opinion, sharp analysis, and we also have some big love for Canadian hoops and ice. We get the opportunity to always break down the NBA, spotlighting the CBL, and we try to carve out some small space for smart hockey talk. Today, I'm your analyst, unapologetic fan of the game, and commentator as well. This is 2:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and today is a good day. I like to say take a chance, be brave and make a difference. Yesterday we had some time to, talk a little bit about the NBA, some of the changes that are going on. And we also looked at the Martin Luther King Jr. Day and some of the games that happened. The same thing also cuts across the world of hockey. We had the Martin Luther King week as well, and we had some beautiful games that were played as well. But what I did was I didn't spend so much time looking at some of those games. I just did an analysis based on a league-wide rating for the Eastern and the Western Conference, because the conference system is almost the same, even though we have the Atlantic and we have other divisions as well within the world of hockey. Presently, we still have the Eastern Conference and Western Conference rating as well. And what I just did was I took the table, did my own kind of analysis, just to look at where the teams are, which teams are superior in their performance, and they are showing that superiority even on the field as the weeks go by. The league will be going on a break for the Winter Olympics. I'm sure I've said that a couple of times, and now it's becoming like broken record. And a couple of teams are beginning to, assign some of their players who will be representing their countries to go on a rest. And a lot of teams are now using much younger players that are not necessarily going for the Olympics, but they'll still be staying active, doing some training, trying to develop some of their skills ahead of the what I consider the second half of the season. So stay tuned as we move on. I'll be looking at a league-wide power balance. I call it like a power play move. Just look at it as a Landona's power league. Within the hockey space, who are the guys that are considered the power balance guys, and this is as at 26th of January, and I consider it a month-end ranking, power ranking as the case goes by. And I'll be starting with, first of all, the Western Conference. The Western Conference is straightforward, just like I've been saying, the Colorado Avalanche are still number one. They are in a different universe of their own. I said that last week, and I'm saying it again this week. But as at the 26th of January, they've been able to put together 79 points in 50 games. That is very dominating. A 129-point pace over 82 games is significantly more than what you can really say in previous. I think the last time this was done was by the Boston Bruins in 2014, 2015, if I'm not mistaken. The Boston Bruins were really on this kind of fire play, looking at it, that's more than 10 years ago if you're looking at it. So they are going on a different pace. Even though yesterday I watched their match against the Ottawa Senators, it was very difficult for the Avalanche to win that game because every team is a bit prepared for them. I think they are beginning to figure them out. And, the Ottawa Senators came with a lot of aggression and ended up defeating them, 5-2. But one thing I was able to take out of that game between the Colorado Avalanche and the Ottawa Senators was, if you are very aggressive with them, then you can defeat them. That's the only way, because they are so slick, young, they move in a very savvy way, and they always get squeaky wins. I think that was just their sixth defeat in regular time of this season. That's their sixth defeat. So they still have defeats that are still in single digits, which means that they are performing at a very high level. They were plus 76 on goal differential, which is very, very dominating. Is absurdly dominant within the league. They are 198 on goals for, and 128 on goals against. So it means that they've scored 198 goals and they've conceded 122. Insanely dominant for me. They are an elite team. They are still very, 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 very dominant. They're at home. They are 22-4. And they're still very, very strong away. And this was as at 26th of January. This will change because yesterday they were defeated by the Ottawa Senators. And the Ottawa Senators were so excited because for you to beat a Colorado team, it means that you'd have put in a lot of work to really get them to come down to your level. The East is deep but not heavy like the West, and multiple teams are kind of clustering between 60 to 70 point range. So there's a lot of dogfights, and I've said that couple of weeks happening across the Western Conference. Um, the goal difference are mostly, modest, if you ask me. Tampa is really doing well in the West, while Colorado is dominating the East. So I take that back. Colorado is actually dominating the East, while Tampa is dominating the West, and they are the clear alpha within the West. So let's just dive right into what I consider my Eastern Conference tiering and the teams that I consider the best within the Eastern Conference. The West has a single juggernaut. Just to finalize my macro team, the West has a juggernaut, and that's the Colorado Avalanche. They are playing so well, but the East has more parity. So there's still a bit of dogfight. Whoever is number one now may still drop. You understand? So there are more teams that can talk themselves into being contenders. They can play themselves into being contenders for the Western Conference. However, I'll just go straight into my ranking, my power ranking, and just talk about it as at the 26th of January. For the East, looking at the competitive layers, the true contenders are the Tampa Bay. They've been outstanding. Tampa Bay Lightning, they are 33, 14, and 4. They've put together 70 points in 51 games played. 112 points pace the way they are going. It shows that they have what it takes to continue to lead this Eastern Conference if they continue the way they are going. They are plus 49 on differential, scored 179 points, and they are 130 on points allowed, or goals allowed so far. And that's elite, but still not at the level of where Colorado is in the West. So we have 8-1-1 in their last 10. They are still trending upward. They've won 8 and lost 2 in their last 10. I see that there's a road dominance. They're having 19-5-4, which means they've won 19 games on the road. It means that they're also performing well at home, and that's why they're still number one. For me, this just screams a playoff ready mentality. Even though we're going to have a break, and one thing that happens is when you have a break that is going to be taking close to about 4 weeks, which is the Winter Olympics, the narratives change when players are coming back. It now becomes which of these teams can really continue when most of their key players come back. Tampa Bay has a lot of teams that will be representing Canada. I mean, a lot of players that will be representing Canada, and hopefully by the time they come back, they won't be allowed to start playing matches immediately. They want them to rest. So without those guys, would they still be able to continue getting all these wins that we are seeing them get? So those are some of the things I'm worried about. A lot of good Canadian players are playing in Tampa Bay. Hopefully by the time they come back, they'll get some rest, and you will still need your reserve team to keep, the momentum going on. The Carolina Hurricanes are number 2 on 69 points. They have 52 on GP, and they are plus 30 on goal differential as well. They are a strong home team. They also play good away, but they've also struggled on some aspects as well. They are 7-1-2 in their last 10. They've won 7, lost 1 in regular time, and lost 2 in overtime and penalties as well. They are surging upwards, and I consider them a classical Carolina profile. They've always been a team that would qualify easily. They won't be part of the wild card. You understand? But in the playoffs, maybe they may just do a second round, or they may just come out of the third round, because when they now face bigger teams in the playoffs, they just chicken out sometimes. But they're still a good powerhouse, and they are number 2 on my list. Number 3, I have the Detroit. The Detroit team, they are doing well. Detroit Wings. I like the way they are going to different locations and they're squeezing out wins. They are 69 points and they are plus 8 on their differential. Very good team. But to me, no team is really afraid of them. They are good, in this in their division as well. They're also trying, but they're not a terrifying team. You can't really be afraid of them. They have strong home record because they won 18 games, lost 8 in regular time, and 1 in penalties and overtime. And to me, that's a respectable performance for a top team. They're also 8-1-1 in their last 10. So it suggests that they are peaking mid-season. And beginning of the season, I was watching this team and I saw that spark that they were going to be able to make a lot of noise across board. But right now, mid-season, they're beginning to pick things up. For me, the Tampa Bay and the Carolina are 2 heavyweights. Detroit is playing more like a contender, but their underlying dominance to me is more of, I see them as very good, not elite yet, but they are very, very good, a very, very good team. So putting it into tiers, just like I did yesterday, with the NBA. That was just tier one. And tier one, we've looked at Tampa Bay, Carolina, and Detroit. In tier two, we have solid playoff teams. I call them playoff teams with some upside. We have the Buffalo in this category with 63 points and they are plus 17 on differential. They have a balanced home and away record. They are playing well. Beginning of the season, they didn't really look like it's towards the middle of the season. I begin to see them as a contender. So they are beginning to peak towards the middle of the season. So presently now they are 7-2-1 in their last 10. They've won 3 straight and they are ascending directly upwards. And now that, they are preparing for the Winter Olympics break, they are probably going to be ending this part of the season on a very high note, and they will definitely want to pick up from there when they get back. On my tier two, I also have Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has 63 points, plus 17 on differential, very similar to Buffalo. But they have about 11 overtime losses. So it means that they're a good team because they're still able to push and stay defensive till overtime. So they live in tight games for me. Their road record is 15-7-4, very impressive. And that's why they're still in my tier two. Easy peasy. They will definitely get, into the playoffs very easy. I don't see them going back into the wild card zone as well. We also have Montreal Canadiens. This is my Canadian team that are doing well after the Edmonton Oilers. They are playing at a very high level. They are beginning to live up to their name. They have been the team that has won the highest amount of championship Stanley Cups ever, with over 24. I think 24, yeah. I have to probably check that again. They are 63 points with plus 2 on differential. They are slightly leaky defensively because I've seen a bit of their defensive lapses, and they are 177 on goals that have been accepted by them, or goals allowed. You understand? They've lost their last 2, and they're only 5-4-1 in their last 10, so they won only 5, which is squeaky 50%. They are fine, but they are not hot as far as I'm concerned. So in this group of tier two, we have the Buffalo and Pittsburgh. They feel more sustainable and they'll be able to just go straight into the playoffs than Montreal. Montreal still has a coin flip performance. And I see a coin flip team. Some of their players will also participate in the Winter Olympics. So by the time they get back, let's see whether they'll be a bit more exposed or more energetic to keep fighting and, give us some of those their old glory as they've done before. For the tier 3 of my bubble team, this is a very volatile area. They can easily get into the tier 2 anytime and fall out anytime. So I call them bubble team for being volatile, where we have the Boston Bruins with 63 points and plus 11 on goal differential. But they've lost their last game and they're only 11-12-2 away. So it means that they're a bit more comfortable playing at home. So their home is like a fortress. The road games are still a big question mark for them. Playing outside Boston for them, sometimes it feels like it's a different team. So, shout out to them as they go into the break and, get the opportunity to get those wins back after the Winter Olympics. New York Islanders, I watched their game yesterday. Those guys are so good. They were able to defeat their city rivals, which is the New York Rangers, and they were able to do it at a very high level. They are 61 points, and they're still in my bubble list. 61 points with plus 4 on differential, very balanced home and away record. If you ask me, they are 5-4-1 in their last 10. This will be 6-4-1 if we consider the game they played yesterday because they defeated the New York Rangers. So they are just hovering around the bubble, but they are not at a stage where I would say that they are surging. There's still a lot of things they need to improve on, including goaltending as well. Florida Panthers are also here. They're in my bubble. These are the champions, so they are not supposed to be here at this time of the season. They have 59 points. They are -8 on differential. Even though they've won 3 straight within their last 10, and they are 6-4-0, which means they've won 6 and lost 4. None of their games have gotten to overtime in their last 10 games. So they win, but they kind of bleed goals generally. And they are fighting really hard to comfortably go into the playoffs and try and see if they can get a 3P. And that will be very tough in the hockey of these days. Philadelphia also, the Philadelphia Flyers are a good team. I watched their game yesterday. They played well. They are 57 points and -8 in differential, 2-6-2 in their last 10. That's not good. They've won only 2, lost 6 in regular time, and lost 2 in overtime losses and penalties. That's a red flag for me. So it means that they are trending downwards clearly for me. They are just being in the mix. And that's because they've gathered a lot of good points leading up to this time. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs as well. They got some steam They went on some 10 games, good performance, and later they dropped and they lost their last two. They are 57 points and -6 in differential, which means they are conceding so many goals. They've lost 4 in their last 10 as well. So they've lost 4, won 4, and they lost 2 in overtime and penalties as well. So their last 10 has not really been easy. But their home record is still strong. They play better in Toronto. But once they go to the US to play other US teams, they struggle a bit. So for me, they're a classical team, but they're underperforming. I know there's a big decision they have to take because Riley, they need to decide on his future before the first week of February deadline. They need to decide on Riley's future. They need to also decide on whether they need to take advantage of the markets, maybe go for a trade before the February, I think it's the February 5th or February 4th deadline. I'm not sure. But there are a lot of things that are looming. They're thinking Toronto will probably go for a trade before they face the next half of the season. Washington comes after them with 57 points. I watched the close game between Washington and the Edmonton Oilers. It was difficult. The Edmonton Oilers had to sweat for that win, and the winning goal eventually came from Conor McDavid. You know, it was 50 for them. They have 57 points plus 11 on differential, but they are 3-6-1 in their last 10. This is an aging team. Their goal differential for me is just clear. They should be better in the standings. You understand? Because they are plus 11, but they are still not getting things done. They are 3-6-1. So they are winning close games, which means that in fact, their game that they lost against the Edmonton Oilers was 6-5. You know, the Edmonton Oilers had to come up with more goals to be able to create winning positions for them. So this group for me is a chaos band. They would likely decide what the wild card will look like. Toronto and Washington, they've been hidden teams. You can't sleep on these teams. They have enough talent to be able to upset everybody, while the Philadelphia Flyers look very fragile in this group, even though they have good numbers compared to the other guys. So tier 4 is the final tiering within the Eastern Conference. And we have the New Jersey team. They are 56 points -21 on differential. The New Jersey team have what it takes, but they're outside and looking in. Hopefully they go on a brief run of 10 matches and they can change their narrative. Columbus Blue Jackets should not be here. The match they played yesterday, they showed me a different team. They are very, very aggressive and they are picking up this mid-season. Unfortunately, they're going to go on another break and they won't get the opportunity to just continue their fine form. They are 55 points with -11 on differential. The Ottawa team is also here, 55 points. They defeated the Colorado Avalanche yesterday. They are on 0 differential, which means that there's a balance between the goals they've scored and what they've allowed. But it doesn't they shouldn't be on this outside looking inside because they're just 55 points. New York Rangers too, they were defeated by the New York Islanders, but they're also 50 points with -22 differential. They are conceding too many goals, and that's why they're outside and looking in. The keynote for me, looking at the grand scheme or the grand strategy, is Ottawa has a 0 differential. They're a true middle team. They will definitely, if they continue like this, they can be a team that will determine what the wild card will look like. Even though they are outside and they are looking in. Their goaltending it's practically what saved them yesterday because they have a good goaltender, but it can improve a little bit, maybe just a bit of just improve a little bit. And that's why they've considered almost the same number of goals they are scoring. So they're also producing. But they can just go into that wild card and give themselves an opportunity. New Jersey and New York Rangers, they have bad differentials. And that's why they shouldn't be here. That's why Ottawa is able to stand out with 0 differential, but it shouldn't be on my outside looking in tier 4 division. So they are most likely to slide and surge unless something drastic happens after the Winter Olympics. So I've been able to, go through what the Eastern Conference looks like. We'll just run through the Western Conference, which is a bit top heavy. The same thing is happening in the world of basketball. Western Conference is far better than the Eastern Conference. I'm boldly, able to say that the same thing is happening here. The Western Conference here too is also stronger than the Eastern Conference. Hopefully we can just go through some of the teams that are performing at a very high level. Now, because this is where Calgary lives as well, Western Conference is very tough. So even teams that are performing so well, some of them are still not even in the wild card category here. So in my tier 1, I consider them, I give them a different name. I call them the monster. You understand? Tier 1, I put only one team in this category, and that's the Colorado Avalanche. They are 25, 6, and 9. The good thing is they still have a lot of single digits in losses. 35, 6, and 9. There are 79 points in 50 games. That is very, very massive. It's like we are watching cartoon. That's the way they play. You know, they are 22 and 4 at home. They've won 20 games at home, lost only 2 in regular time, and lost only 4 in overtime losses and penalties. That is like we are watching cartoon. So even at a 4-4-2, you know, in their last 10, they are still placing themselves on top of the league. They've won 4, lost 4, and lost 2 in overtime losses and penalties in their last 10. But they are still pacing the league. They are still somewhere ahead. In fact, they can rest players and still get good results. So this, for me, they are comfortably going to win the President's Trophy. President's Trophy is whichever team has the best record within the regular season. Even though every team is fighting for playoffs, go into the championship and win the Stanley Cup. But the President's Trophy is also a good sign that the team is disciplined enough and they're able to win a lot of games during the regular season. So for me, I'm saying it ahead of time. The Colorado team are my team for the President's Trophy. They are going ahead and they will probably win it. So my tier 2, so this is the only team in tier 1. In tier 2, I have strong contenders. They call them dark horses. The Minnesota team, they are really, really playing well. Minnesota Wild, they are very wild. They are 68 points with plus 17 on differential. Balanced home and away record for me. They are 4-4-2 in their last 10. They've won 4, lost 4 in regular time and 2 in overtime losses and penalties. And they're plateauing a bit, but they've done so well in the early part of the season to be able to get enough wins that keeps them in my tier 2 and the second best team so far in the Western Conference. So now we have Dallas directly behind them. Dallas has really surged and they've improved with 67 points and plus 28 on differential. They are defending well. Their goaltending has improved. They are very strong. If you look at their underlying profile, they are 15, 7, and 6 away. Travel doesn't really bother them. They are traveling and they are still getting good results. So I like what I'm seeing from them, and I know that they have what it takes to really survive. We have the Vegas Kings, and the Vegas guys are a big surprise this season. They're a big team too, having won the championship, within the last 5 years. They're a very good team. They're 62 points and they're plus 10 in differential. They're 7-3-0 in their last 10, which means they've won 7 and lost 3 in regular. They've not got into overtime in their last 10 matches, which means that they're a very good team. They grind out points, very, very well. They are still very, very positive, and I like the way they are going. And this is where my Edmonton team also sits, because they are sharing the same points with the Vegas team. They are 62 points with plus 11 differential. Their goaltending issues, I think they've been solved with Jared back he has been taken off the injury list, so he's back and he's playing at a high level. So right now they are shuttling between Ingram and Tristan Jarrett, playing very, very well. They are a high event team. They have a lot of talent and they've been to the final twice in a row. So they're not just a fluke. They're a high power hockey team. Good hockey city. They are 186 on goals scored and 175 goals allowed. So they win a lot of track meets, you understand? And I like what I'm seeing from them. So behind Colorado and Dallas, you might just most likely have most complete team. This area is a dangerous tier 2. This is the first time I'll see a tier 2 that is very dangerous. We have Minnesota and the Vegas guys, they are structurally strong. Edmonton Oilers, this season they are volatile because they had goaltending issues and they were not producing too many goals earlier in the season, but they can beat anyone and they can lose to anyone. That's the best way to qualify the way the Edmonton Oilers are playing. Anybody can beat them and they can beat anybody. So it now depends on whether they're having a good day or not. So in my tier 3, we have the playoff bubble and wild cards. Here we have the Anaheim Ducks. And the Edmonton Oilers also showed us that even the Anaheim Ducks too can be defeated as well. They are a playoff bubble and wild card for me because Anaheim has 59 points with minus 11 on differential and 7-3-0 in their last 10, which means they've won 7 and lost 3. They've not gone into overtime. So winning now for me is their mentality. They try to avoid a lot of overtime. And the differential also suggests that, they can be smoky and sometimes they can be weak sometimes. But they are a good team and they'll do everything it takes to qualify normally without being in the wild card. I know that. Utah, which that's the Utah Mammoths. They used to be the Utah Hockey Club. They have 58 points and plus 20 in also in this group, and they are 8-1-1 in their last 10. To me, this is one of the most interesting profiles. Strong differentials, strong recent form, but decent home and away splits. But they look like a riser, and it's not a fluke. There's something they are doing correctly from what I'm seeing in that team. Another team that I like so much that happens to be in this my tier of tier 2 is the San Jose, or the J is silent. So it's the San Jose team where we have Celebrini. I like the guy, the Canadian sensation. They have 58 points, but minus 18 on differential. They are 18 coming up. And I think they are also playing the Edmonton Oilers this evening, if I'm correct. Yeah, they are playing the Edmonton Oilers this evening, and it's a match I'm looking forward to. But they are 6-4-0 in their last 10. So they're hanging around, but there's some underlying numbers that are looking very shaky for me. In this group, we also have the Los Angeles team. Any team in Los Angeles will always at least put up a good performance, and that's why they're in my tier 3 with 55 points and minus 9 on differential. And they are 4-2-4 in their last 10. They've won 4, lost 2 in regular time, and they've also lost 4 in overtime losses and penalties. So they are finding ways to scrap out those wins, and I like it. The Seattle Kraken have been quiet. They are the last team in this tier 3. They've been very quiet. Nobody's talking much about them. But they're just somewhere there, getting some few wins. And I think this evening they will also be playing the Toronto Maple Leafs. They are 55 points and minus 11 on differential, 3-5-2 in their last 10. Means they won 4, lost 2 in regular time, and lost 4 in overtime and penalty shootout. So they're scrapping out wins, but they are not dominating. I don't see them doing much this season. They're not going anywhere, but they're able to just make a bit of noise. If they are lucky to get into the wild card, but I don't see much happening. So for me, the West is looking crowded and fragile, with the Utah team rising, really. They are rising from ashes, Anaheim, San Jose, and the other teams, LA, they are all coming up, and they are candidates to go into the wild card if they perform well after the Winter Olympics. So for the tier 4, this is a team that is chasing, but they are very flawed. I call them the category of teams that are chasing, but they are very flawed. And here we have the Nashville team with 52 points and minus 26 differential. Chicago is also here. The Hawks, we call them the Blackhawks, 50 points and minus 23 in differential. The Calgary team, unfortunately, is also here with 48 points and minus 24 in differential. Their last 10 games have been very bad. Calgary team, they can't even buy a win the way they are going, or buy a couple of wins, rather, if you are looking at the best way to qualify their performance. The Winnipeg Jets have dropped. They have 47 points and minus 9, and that's why they are in my tier 4. St. Louis have also dropped. St. Louis has dropped, and that's why they have 47 points with minus 52 on differential. Vancouver Canucks as well. They've dropped as well, and that's why they're on 39 points and, minus 52 in differential. So for the Calgary team, I just like to talk a little bit about them. So far, they are 21, 25, and 6, which means they have 48 points in 52 games. Very, very poor for a hockey house team like Calgary to be in this situation. Is very, very poor. Their goal differential is minus 24. They've scored 132 goals and conceded 156. There's no way. There's a real problem with the Calgary team. The Calgary Flames are not playing well. At home, they've done 13-9-4, which is respectable. Because you must always, protect home court no matter what. It's quite respectable, but there's a lot of work that they still need to do generally. So they need to improve. Away, they are 8-16-2, and this is where the season is dying for them. Their last 10, they are 3-5-2. They lost 4 in a row within their last 10, and they're just sliding away. They are not stabilizing. And, this is a team that they are not getting blown out every night, really. They are putting in their own 2 cents, but they lose the margin. You understand? They lose by small, small margins. And it's happening too many times because of they are not disciplined. They are allowing a lot of goals. They are what I consider a decent home team. But for me, if they are able to export that performance, because I watched their game against the Edmonton Oilers, the second game after the Christmas break, and they played so well. So with this differential, I think they have to try and buy some players in the deadline. That's just my own advice to them. Try and see if they can buy some players in the deadline. Try to create a different identity and start to change some of their styles away from home. Some of those things can change. If you look at their style and identity, a lot of things can be tweaked and they will put themselves in a better position. Colorado team, shout out to them. They are playing so well. Detroit teams that are coming up, Montreal Canadiens, all these are playoff contenders. They are doing so well. And the drama is basically in the mid-table and the wild card. That's where a lot of the drama is going to be. Hopefully, we're able to see a lot of changes coming immediately after the Winter Olympics. There are some games that are going to be going on between now. The Winter Olympics will be starting first week of February, and players will have a few days to rest before they're able to get on the bandwagon again. Thank you very much for staying till the end. We have big love for Canadian hoops and ice, and today we've been able to break down a lot of the side hockey talks and the key hockey talks as well. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day. Peace.